Okay. Chöku'i kunduzongbo gomboi. Dorji sempagarab dorji dang. Chere singe bardu sin labdi. Dedam abzantata tusumchi. Zogchen jupe lamala solo deb. Ergin bema junila solo deb. Dorji chang shitalo narodang. Marpa mila gompo tsatsapa. Na pupadang palden drupa Kargyu lama namla solwa deb. Ochen lama namla solwa deb. Druchen lama namla solwa deb. Kaginwari lama namla solwa deb. Shakya lama namla solwa deb. Nyandu dayandran lama namla solwa deb. Pakondu jangdangi yerme pa. Gungarab dorji jindrag pa. Jesidang nisume pa. Palamanam chitente chong. Okay, over to you, Dorit.
So I have the opportunity to offer you a mandala. Yay! We all want to offer you a mandala. Sashi puki dukshin metok drum, re-rabbling shielding degepadi, sange shingdu mikte uagi, drokum namda chingla chupashok. Om idam guru ratna mandala kamdiyatayami. Thank you, Lamala. Thank you.
Thank you.
So we have this amazing opportunity now, and we are all grateful that you agreed to give us this beautiful class. Just as you asked, I'll do a brief, very short review of what we have gone through, because they were going through about, I think, 8 weeks of the course, some of them because there was a little breaks here and there, but very thoroughly introduction to the mandala, but not only introduction, but also practicing in hand. So in order to do that, what we did is that we gave the first class was about more of an introduction to the 5 Dhyanis Buddhas, and then each week we went through one of the Buddhas. They have received sadhana, and they were practicing the whole week, or maybe sometimes 2 weeks, this specific sadhana. And what happened is that if they found out that this specific Dhyani Buddha was something that they needed more of that, so it was more, they emphasized that and practiced that more. So that was, I think, about over, I don't know, something like 7 or 8 weeks, I don't remember. And what we did is, I just want to give, as you ask, a brief overview on the 5 Dhyanis Buddhas, because we all intend to forget, including myself. So as we introduced that, the 5 Dhyani Buddhas, actually, as you mentioned that a few times, is a man-made process or man-made skill in order for us to work mainly on our afflictive emotions, or sometimes called kleshas. And while we are working on that in the tantric path, we are transforming that into the wisdom that this specific Dhyani Buddha and this specific afflicted emotion is being transformed.
How do you do that in Tantra? How do you make the transformation happen?
It happened through
Tantra.
it's happened through a few, I will say, methods. Some of them are conscious methods and some of them are unconsciously. Like, for example, when we work with a specific Buddha, so we learn about this afflicted emotion, their characteristics. So this is more of, we can say, psychological aspect, although it's, more of getting to know yourself and how you react with this afflicted emotion. So this is more knowledgeable, more process, conscious process. But then there are many symbols that has to do with this specific Dhyani Buddha, like, for example, the hand gesture or mudras, what we call the color, the ornament they wear, the form in the skandhas, in the hips, what we call, the direction where they are in the mandala. So those are more of unconsciousness symbols that work on us, even if we don't understand how it works. So when we designed the sadhana that we gave them, so it started with of course, with the refuge and bodhicitta, and then the description or visualization of this specific Dhyani Buddha, and then going through the process of what is going on within our mind with this afflicted emotion. And the transformation to the wisdom happens very gradually. It's not, like instant, like in Dzogchen. Maybe for some of us, it can happen, instantly. But mainly it takes time. And what we could see through the course is that people who were practicing the sadhana, and the sadhana contains also questions with regard to this afflicted emotion. So when they were working on that, they realized in their life, what is hidden behind this, what we call afflicted emotion. And then their life started to change because they got awareness to these specific issues in their life, so they could act towards that in different manners. So it was both consciously and unconsciously working. That's how Tantra works. So we started, and we also said that we need to know that some of the characteristic here in the mandala is different in different lineages, like, for example, who is in the middle, who is here or there. Sometimes they change the color, but we choose one system, which is the system that I was diving into, which is the Gaelic tradition. So in the center of the mandala is Vairochana. His color is white. His hips, his skandha is the consciousness, and the afflicted emotion that we have there, the klesha, is the ignorance. Of course, we elaborated about what is this ignorance in much more that we're going to do it now. And we transform this ignorance, this afflicted emotion, into the wisdom of the Dharmadhatu. In the East, we have Akshobhya, which is color is blue. The skandha is the form skandha, and the afflicted emotion is mainly anger, sometimes connected with fear, because anger is a result of the fear. And the transformation is to the mirror-like wisdom. In the South, it's Ratnasambhava. His color is yellow. The skandha is feelings. And what the transformation takes place from the afflicted emotion of pride and those kind of very tiredness or stinginess into the wisdom of equality. And in the West, we have Amitabha, which is red. And the skandha is the perception, how we perceive things, and mainly attachment, but more of attachment like sexual attachment, but other part of the afflicted emotion as well, and the wisdom it transformed, the discriminating wisdom. And last but not least is Amoghasiddhi. He is in the north. is green, and the skandha is the mental formation, the consciousness, what we call, and mainly jealousy, competition, taking the ruler out of my pocket and comparison to others. And we try to transform that to all-encompassing wisdom. So mainly when we work with this, I would say, method, it's a method, actually, like everything in Tantra. When we work with this method, what happens, it's when we become very much, the knowledge is not knowledge, from what we read in the book, but we learn about ourselves. We can become aware of what we are and how this is in our life. When we discussed that, we said that we are now going and diving very deeply into the first 2 stages of the 4 stages that you introduced in the working with emotions in the Dzogchen perspective. So people were really getting into understanding what happens. We didn't get into the physical part, which is the sensation or feelings. I mean, the feelings, of course, are there because they're the afflicted emotions, but we didn't go into the sensation, and we didn't go into the stripping down and staying in the part of the Dzogchen.
Yeah, that's primarily the Dzogchen method.
Yes. So I think, having said that, I want to hand over to you, Lama. Thank you again for joining us to this course, and thank you. Thank you.
Okay, I have it memorized in a slightly different pattern than you do, which is fine. I've got blue in the middle and white in the east. And a slightly different way of describing the transformative energy. I've got discriminating wisdom in the east, as well as mirror-like wisdom, and we've got bodhicitta in the west. So that's just a slightly different pattern from a different lineage. They all do the same thing.
Yeah, we find out that it doesn't matter if they're really in the center or in the east. All we want to do is really dive into those emotions.
It's how to work with it.
Yeah, learn them, learn how they are manifesting in our life and how we want, the transformation takes place. The first thing you need to do is to be aware to something that happens in your life. If there is no awareness, you cannot transform anything. So that was the main work that we did.
The amount of trouble us sentient beings get ourselves into with our emotions. I'm not sure any one is worse than the others. I can imagine getting into trouble with any one of them. If you are unconscious to its manifestations. Now, the difference with Dzogchen and Tantra is Tantra works through the symbols to create transformation. Dzogchen works in a much more direct way to release a imposed pattern into its natural state. So these Dhyani Buddhas, these feelings, these emotions are seen as naturally the wisdoms, but they got tangled up because you either suppressed them because you got taught you're not supposed to feel that, or justified them so that others would acknowledge you do feel that. And that's what entangled them, the suppression and the justification, both of which are done with thoughts. So with Tibetan, since anger is a very easy emotion for a Tibetan to get at, big barbarians with swords, I'm thinking Kampas, not the civilized Lhasa folk. I don't know that many Lhasa folk. When you feel anger, it is usually a response to fear. We count fear and anger as a single emotion. Generally, some people have been conditioned that they're not supposed to get angry, so they get afraid instead. They can admit they're scared, but not that they're angry, because they're good Dharma practitioners, because they're good people. Good people don't get angry. Other people can't admit that they're afraid, because a strong person doesn't feel fear. Strong man isn't scared. He might be angry, but he's not scared. So generally, we're going to find in ourselves one of these two patterns. We're going to be more comfortable with anger than fear, or more comfortable with fear than anger. Fear and anxiety are the same thing. Anger and annoyance are the same thing. And grouch. They're just all like subtle flavors of syrup on the ice cream. So, and let's see, you have Verotsana in the East in blue. Okay, so if you learned it that way.
Vairocana is actually white. He's
You
in
got Verotsana white. Who have you got in the East in blue?
Akshobhya.
Akshobhya, okay. So Akshobhya is primordial Buddhahood. Unsullied and unsullyable, unfuck-upableness. Katak. It is before the vase of eternal youth was broken. You've heard me talk about that in Bodhicitta and in Flight of the Garuda. It is utterly undistorted symbolism. So it is our thoughts that we use to either support and justify anger or fear. Well, I should be afraid to walk down those streets late at night alone. Because, well, one should be. It's scary. Or, well, I should be angry at her. She stole my money. It's justifiable. Or I should not be afraid because as a strong person, fuck them. I'm going to walk down any street I want. You see how these are stories that you clothe the emotion in to either suppress or justify. You either hang on to it and make it nice and strong, or you try to make it go away and stop bothering you. So the first thing to working with emotions, to working with these patterns, is working with thoughts. You gotta be able to get a naked emotion to work with it. When it's all dressed up in those fancy stories that you're telling yourself about why you're angry, why you're afraid, or how you shouldn't be angry and shouldn't be afraid, all those marvelous stories, which are made of thoughts, are what is entangling primordial purity, the wisdom of, what are you calling the Eastern wisdom, Dorit?
The Eastern is, in the East is Akshobhya and the mirror-like wisdom.
Mirror-like wisdom. Okay, that stays the same. I just attribute it to a different archetype. So in the mirror-like wisdom, the mirror reflects everything undistorted. This is the analogy. With complete clarity, there's no fuzziness around the peripheral and no central point that's clearer than other points. That is distorted by the thoughts. into anger and fear. That just perception reflection, the pure mirror, the mirror that reflects itself, without grasping anything. A mirror doesn't care what it reflects. It reflects clearly and truly, a well-made mirror, exactly what's in front of it without needing to fix it in any way or improve it in any way, without having to make it better. So when you take your anger and your fear and you try to justify or suppress with a story, you're trying to fix it. That distorts mirror-like wisdom into anger and fear. It would have arisen as mirror-like wisdom quite spontaneously if you didn't fuck with it. So you got to learn how to unfuck with it. This is the trick to any emotion. We're working with fear as an example, but this works on all of them. And that is the first retreat of this pattern that I teach, working with thought. It's working with thought, working with feelings, working with sensations, and working with perceptions. And they're just all different angles to come at the same thing. And the first thing you do in every one of them is strip it naked. Except the method of working with thoughts is how you strip it naked. There are things that make it easier. They're just little tricks. You don't need to do them if they don't make it easier for you. But aligning your channels makes it easier to do this in the beginning before you're really good at it. Like sitting up straight, with your hands on your thighs if you're in a chair, all that good positional stuff. It's just to make it easier. You want your chin back a little bit, lips open. Teeth are not touching each other. Your tongue is a little bit in between. Tongue naturally lying there where it falls, but keeping your teeth slightly open. Do not close your teeth. Air should be able to pass through the nose and the mouth as it does. It's mostly through the nose, but there should be a little bit through the mouth. The eyes are looking straight ahead at no thing at all. When you are tired, pulled an all-nighter, listening to a boarding lecture, back in college when you learned to sleep with your eyes open, that's the eye focus, or rather lack of it. You have to let your eyes drift off of point focus by relaxing your eyeballs from point focus. This is because your attention follows your eyes around. You can't even look to your left without paying attention in some way to what's to your left. Try it if you don't believe me. So we're going to steer our attention away from, out of its habitual compulsive point focus, where we listen to everything we're thinking and believe every word of it. Even though infinite number of times we are aware we have been mistaken and that thought was not true. But this thought is, and this one, and whatever one you're having right now, including about these methods, you think is true and real. With your eyes relaxing out of point focus. Some of you will find this easier with your glasses off. Others of you will prefer to leave them on. Try it both ways, see what works for you. In this, relaxation. The thoughts are not the subject of your appointed attention. Let your attention relax into the nameless tawa. That open awareness which has no dichotomy between subject and object, which is just there, not nowhere. Ain't no there to that there where. Relax. Relax it again. Let the thoughts drift by without giving them your attention. Do not entertain your thoughts. Don't give them a cup of tea. Let them arise and vanish. Like writing with your finger on water. Like the tracks of a bird across the sky. No residue. No impact. No thing. By seeing the nature of the thoughts while they arise and vanish simultaneously, you strip naked the feeling into a pure sensation of the yi. And sometimes elsewhere in the body, people hold their feelings in a variety of places. Now you got to get its underwear off. It's almost naked, but it still has a name: fear, anger. Those are thoughts. Naming, the arising of a word, of language. Ah, the beginning of thought. Just relax and let go of that. So a nameless sensation somewhere in your gut and or elsewhere. Don't transform it. That's poking at it. That's wanting it to do something. Leave it alone. Working with thoughts means to see the thoughts as they are without construing anything about them. Look, no matter how much I think, there is a pedestal here where my hand is. I'm thinking that with all my might. I cannot get it to support my coffee cup. Thoughts are immaterial, insubstantial. Pick a thought, any thought. Just one. Do you see how it's wiggling? You see how you can't hold that still? What you've actually got is a series of thoughts on a topic. Say persimmons. Color, shape, two different kinds, how to cook them, how to eat, whether they're nice to eat raw, how to serve them, where the tree grows. Now I've got a possum in that tree. Oh, it's a mother possum with babies. You see how it went on proliferating, but it wasn't the thought I was trying to hold, persimmon. That came and went in less than an instant. Then another thought about a persimmon and about persimmons and about persimmons. This is what they do. It requires absolutely no effort on your part to make your thoughts dissolve in the moment they arise. In fact, with every possible effort you can put into it, you cannot make them not dissolve in the moment they arise. So there's no forcing it in working with thoughts. There's simply stopping to grasp them as a reality by releasing them in the recognition of their own natural state. This is the key to everything else. This is the key to Garab Dorji's texts. This is the key to Dzogchen. If you cannot do this, your practice of Dzogchen will not complete itself. You got to see the thoughts for what they are, which ain't nothing at all, while you think them. That doesn't mean thinking that they are nothing at all and that they dissolve in the moment of arising. It does not mean thinking that at them after you've had them. Thinking that don't help. Those are thoughts you're thinking that with. You got to watch them all do that until you're utterly sure by your own experience that none of them have any more reality than any other. Since this is the key, I will pause here and ask for questions specifically on thoughts. And I will pause while you think of some and try to hold them still long enough to say them. Yes, Dorit.
I said if you want to ask a question, just raise your hand so Lena can see your hand. Okay, we have the first.
Oscar.
Mala, thank you for these teachings. I have this question, like, suddenly I'm able to see these origins of thought, which is empty, and I can recognize it. But then, like when I'm experiencing something, I have the desire to anticipate or predict what's the next step, what's the next experience or comprehension or whatever.
That's in order to be safe.
And then I do it through, I try logic steps to get there. Mm-hmm. But then I find myself falling again into entertaining these thoughts. So my question is, what would you advise me to help me to reduce that desire?
So that desire is a form of anxiety. Anxious about what will come, so trying to steer into less painful, more pleasurable results. So I would put that over in the fear-anger category. Does that make sense to you so far?
Yeah, so then I should focus on these practices or sadhanas around this fear and anger, and that would help me to reduce that anxiety, and then just experience whatever comes next.
No, because once you're trying to reduce the anxiety, you're not accepting it. If I were you, I would simply focus on the thoughts. And every time you notice you're doing that, regardless of the cause for doing it, take a breath in through your nose and blow it out through your mouth. This is simply a method that settles the chi in your channels. We say the thoughts ride the chi, and the feelings ride the thoughts. So we're just on thoughts here. When the thoughts ride the chi, if you slow down the chi, you're going to slow down the thoughts a little bit, which just makes it a tiny bit easier to work with. So like this. It's like a sigh. And then just look at the thoughts while you think them. See, they're naturally transparent. In fact, you can't make an opaque thought. Give it a try. Imagine a pumpkin in my hands. Think it opaquely. See? It stayed transparent. You couldn't make it opaque. Since you cannot make a thought opaque, no matter how hard you try, you can look right through them at Tawa. So let your attention, remember, Tawa is not a one-pointed focus. It's open awareness. So you have to let your attention orifice come wide open into Tawa and let the thinking run without suppressing it. Don't try to stop it. Don't try to change it. Don't try to do anything to it. Just look right through it and notice how it do that. And it will become clear to you from watching that no thought has substance or duration. No thought has any reality of its own. And then it's just practice. That's on the cushion.
Thank you, Lama.
Lama, may I say something? Because
yes, absolutely. We're co-teaching this.
Yeah, I think that this question brought up an understanding that we were doing those 8 weeks of the 5 Dhyani's Buddhas from the tantric perspective.
Yes.
Now there is a rare, and I'm talking to the audience here. Now there is a rare opportunity here to be explored to the how to work with the 5 Dhyani's Buddhas from the Dzogchen perspective. So actually, what Lama is doing, she is teaching us a new method. So leave the first method aside. It's just for the method that we taught at the beginning. It was more to get to know your feelings, okay, to name them. Now we need to undress them. In order to do that, you need a new method. So don't try to find some kind of reasoning to those two methods together. This is a new method, and Lama is giving it this. This is very rare opportunity. So be open. Be open to everything that Lama is giving us, and don't try to connect it, to hook it to the first method that we did. This is a different method, okay? Just want to make it clear.
So, Viviana.
Thank you very much, as always, for your teachings, Lamala. Thank you, Loppon, Dorit. Lamala, would you mind to tell us again how to do it when a thought arises? I identify as a fixer, and then start, let's say that I identify one, I start saying no, be equanimous.
No, don't do that.
I know. Then would you mind to repeat me how to do it?
Because there is not a doing, but a releasing of doings here. This will be hard for anyone to understand who is accustomed for the past 10 billion years to be constantly in a state of compulsive point focus on this thing or that and doing stuff to it, even as a bug. So under these circumstances, this is something very, very new. To not do something to it. All the little doings I teach you are simply ways of making it easier to not do. When you are sitting down comfortably with your channels in alignment, it is easier for the chi not to squeak through the channels. When the chi squeaks through the channels, it is generally experienced as unpleasantness, unpleasant sensation or unpleasant emotion. So that's the only reason you do the doing of sitting up straight. The breath in through the nose and out through the mouth like a sigh. also just settles and slows the chi in the channels, making it just that much easier. The mouth is releasing tension in your jaw by making sure you're not clenching and grinding your teeth, otherwise you will. Just for something to do. It's the eye focus that seems to be what matters because the attention follows the eyes. And you have been point focusing on your thoughts ever since you can remember, and long before then too. What you thought, not what you had for breakfast, but what you thought about what you were having for breakfast. Remember breakfast? Remember you were thinking about it while you ate it. Or you were playing with your phone or something and you were thinking about that. We're always thinking about something and listening to the thoughts. This is simply making a change in that. So lining everything up, eyes straight ahead, chin a little back, that's just to make it a little bit easier, little tricks. It is the open awareness where you are not point focused on what you are thinking. Allowing the thoughts to arise and vanish. Each little nam, thought particle, thought bit, has no duration, has no substance. See that for yourself. Don't take my word for it. Go look at them.
Mm-hmm.
Open your attention so that the thoughts slip and slide, arising and vanishing, leaving no tracks behind, like writing on water. Like the tracks left by a bird in its flight across the sky. Let go. Leave the thoughts to be as they are, no thing and nowhere. As such, they have no power over you. And all your life, everything you've done, whether it was something that turned out to have been a good idea, or one of those things that simply seemed like a good idea at the time and led to things you didn't like. Either way, they have been the king of you. You have been obeying that idiot voice in your head from time immemorial. It is not required that you listen. So relax. Let go. Let it dweeble as it will. Pay it no never mind. Like that. Working with thoughts. Their natural state is no thing. All we have to do is stop pretending that there's something of value. Something that might be real or worth listening to.
Thank you, Lama.
Isabel.
Can you, Lama, Lena?
Yes.
Could I speak in Spanish?
I can barely hear you. Please speak louder.
In
Yeah,
Spanish?
you have a translation. You have a translation. You can speak in Spanish.
Thanks. Me pregunto
I ask
si los
myself
pensamientos
if the
están en
thoughts
sintonía con las
are
emociones,
synchronized with the emotions,
porque esto viene
because
porque me siento profundamente
I
agotada
feel
desde
deeply
hace
exhausted
meses, pero los
for
pensamientos siempre
months,
están con su
but the
actividad de
thoughts
siempre.
are
Tienes que,
acting
tienes que,
as
tienes que
usual,
hacer esto, lo otro.
doing this, that, the other.
Y ahora la verdad es que estoy
And
como muy
now
desconectada de
I am very
todo.
disconnected
siento
from everything. I don't
unión
feel
o mando,
union
no sé cómo decirlo, pero es todo
or
como
a
que me siento
command,
libre.
or everything is like free.
And are you still exhausted?
Yes.
Huh. I don't know. The way you describe it is unlike my experience, but we are different people speaking in different languages. So I'm not sure how to answer this. Try to give me a better question mark. Maybe that will help. What is the actual question?
¿Quién dirige
Who
todo
is
esto que pasa?
directing all
Que
these
parece
things
que no
that
tiene
are
concordancia
happening?
una cosa. ¿Quién
That
dirige?
looks
¿Hay
like
alguien que
there's no
dirija todo esto?
concordance. Is there anyone
Porque un
that is
rato,
in charge
de
of all
acuerdo,
this?
lo entiendo,
No,
pero
not at
todo
Because
all.
el día.
Not even you. A lot of people imagine that there is a captain steering the ship, and they make up gods to fill that niche. However, the problem with gods is they tend to have their own agendas, which may not be in your interest. They're likened to shepherds. Consider why shepherds raise sheep. Mutton. So I think it may be unnecessary to imagine someone in charge. Unless you really need it, and then I'll give you many to pick from that you can use there. Have I answered your question, Isabel?
Yes.
yes.
Rich, you're up next then.
Hello, Lama. Nice to meet you in person finally. Yeah, my question is, is it always the thought that comes first that triggers the emotion?
No.
Oh, okay. Because I notice the thing that happens with me a lot is a lot of times I'll wake up in the morning. As soon as I wake up, I'm like full of anxiety. And I'm saying to myself, how could this be? I'm not even thinking of anything yet, or starting my day, or where is this coming from? So I'm
No,
thinking
but as
about
soon as you feel the anxiety, can you turn off your extra device?
what do you mean by extra?
I was echoing. That's better now.
All right, hold on. Okay, got it. Sorry.
Okay, so As soon as you notice the anxiety, you're going to wrap it up in thoughts.
Right.
So sometimes the emotion will come first. The emotion can come from a hormone, a brain chemical. A startlement, a loud noise that startles you. It turns out the cat knocked something off the table. So it's not dangerous or anything, and yet nonetheless, it can create a great deal of the sensation of fear. So sometimes, no, it isn't started by a thought, but you immediately wrap it up in thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
And again, if you want to work with it, you're going to have to strip it back naked again.
Okay.
You get the thoughts off, and then you get the underwear off, which is the name anxiety.
Okay.
What's the difference for you between anxiety and excitement in actual physical sensations, not in the thoughts?
Because excitement seems like fun to me, and anxiety is
Those
not.
are the thoughts around it. That's not the sensation.
Oh, it's just like restlessness and like, I don't know. It's just, and the fear, you could feel the fear,
Those are thoughts around it.
I don't know. It's just some kind of feeling inside, like restlessness or uneasiness, or yeah, it's not.
Yes, but isn't excitement restless and uneasy?
Yeah.
I want you to examine the difference between the two. You might just be waking up every morning feeling excited for the new day and what it will bring.
But what I wind up doing is I don't want to deal with it, so I go back to sleep, and then I don't get up till 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
Well, that's because you're interpreting the sensation in your gut, in your yi, as anxiety rather than as excitement. If you interpreted it as incitement, you'd want to jump out of bed and see what marvels were coming. Those are just your word thought interpretations of a sensation. It's the same sensation. Somewhere in your childhood conditioning, excitement may not have been allowed, whereas anxiety was. So that's what you named that sensation. Some kids have their excitement discouraged. Like if they get excited about something, it gets taken away or diminished or poo-pooed. And so they learn not to do that.
I can relate to that, that's for sure.
So there you have it. You're actually excited for the new day. You've just been interpreting it as anxiety with your thoughts because you're not allowed to be excited. Try putting it back in its natural state and enjoy the day.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Vencel.
Hi, Lama. I will try to put my question into analogy. What if I find myself with an appearance of standing on train tracks and I see a train coming towards me? And in this situation, how can I do everything to ensure my safety and get off the train tracks and out of the danger without
If you try to
reifying?
think about that too much, you're going to get caught in, well, shall I go to the left or shall I go to the right? Which way will be easier? Which way will get me out of the danger? Is there danger to the left if I get off the train? You can get yourself into such a tangle that you're still standing there when the train reaches you.
Yeah, that's what I'm going through.
It's much simpler to not think about it. Don't worry, your body will get the fuck out of the way. Just like you will pull your hand back from the hot stove. Have you ever gone to, like, without a pot holder, pick up the handle of the pot because you thought it was still cool and discovered it was not? Your hand goes away from it really fast. Without thought. You don't think, I shouldn't leave my hand sitting here on this hot fan handle. It's like, ouch. I guess I need a pot holder. That's the thought that comes after.
I don't think I'm usually that much of an intellect-focused person, but with this situation, it's difficult because the seeming danger is so indirect that my intellect is really convincing that I need to hold up a worldview to protect me from it, And I'm not sure how can I act on it without reifying it, or entangling myself in it too much. If that makes sense.
Try this. Try, while you think about it, while you entangle your intellect with it, looking at those thoughts as they arise and vanish, and seeing for yourself that they are nothing whatsoever and have no power. And then after doing that for quite some time, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, stand up and see what your body naturally does. Whether your instinct made a decision once you got the thoughts out of your fucking way by looking through them. It's worth a try.
Should I pull it up as a concept and then just watch it go?
No, don't
That's
pull it
not
up
a
as a
thing.
concept. Just go sit with your channels in alignment and your eyes straight ahead. That whole set of things I told you to make it easier in the beginning. Just go sit and do that. Don't worry, it'll come up. It's got you worried.
Okay.
You don't have to bring it up. It'll do that. You're kind of obsessing with it lately.
Yes.
For perfectly valid reasons. You are in danger.
Thanks for...
I'm not going to try to deny that there isn't a danger there, but yes, it's coming at you from the side and around behind, and I don't think you're going to be able to figure out a way out of this.
So is it more about acceptance?
No.
Great.
One doesn't walk into explosions acceptingly. One does duck. But one ducks instinctively. No, it is more about not being led around like a bull by the ring in his nose by your thoughts, but being able to clearly, without the thoughts, actually see the situation. Mirror-like wisdom. The mirror reflects everything with great sharpness and clarity. It isn't like your eyes that point focus on something with clarity right in front of you, and the whole peripheral vision is all fuzzy. The mirror reflects both the edges and the center with absolute pristine clarity. You can't actually see the situation you're in or the solution to it because the thoughts are in your way. So the first thing to do is strip it naked. Clarify those thoughts, what there's their true nature. You're not doing something to them. You're not making them be insubstantial. You're not making them lack duration. That's what they are. You are simply trying to lose the ignorance, the misaligned belief system that there's something real when there isn't. It's like, were you raised to believe in the Tooth Fairy or Santa Claus or some such?
I think so.
So at some age, you discovered that grown-ups had made this up. And it was a really neat story, but it wasn't real. So at some age, you are going to have to discover this about your thoughts. You made them up. They can tell some really neat stories, but they aren't real. But nobody can tell you this because what I'm telling you are in words, therefore they're giving you thoughts about it. And thinking at your thoughts, those are not real, is utterly useless. You have to see their non-reality for yourself while thinking, while resting your attention in open awareness of Tawa, while thinking and seeing the nature of thoughts and Tawa simultaneously, and seeing how the thoughts arise in Tawa as Tawa, without ever leaving Tawa, dissolving in Tawa, having neither substance nor duration. And so by the direct perception, seeing of this, they lose their power to confuse you. And you can see what's really going on and what really needs to be done about it. Because right now, you don't even know for sure if you're in this danger or if you're going to become in this danger, but you aren't yet. Do you see what I mean? They're not chasing you around the streets yet.
Mm.
You just perceive it as a possibility in the future.
That's, sorry to elaborate this, but that's what I think my main source of anxiety is, not the danger itself, but that I have now the freedom to choose from a lot of different reactions. And
you don't have the freedom to choose, because if you choose according to how you think, you don't have free will to choose how you think. Your thoughts will come up according to your karma. It's pre-patterned. If you've always thought one way, you'll continue thinking that way. You're just going to repeat your patterns in thoughts again and again if you rely on the thoughts to make your decisions. What was it my granny said? When you got a big decision to make, always examine it once while sober and once while drunk. That was her way of getting away from the thoughts. Because at a certain amount of whiskey or vodka or whatever you happen, gin, whatever you like in there, you're not really thinking much. Not that I'm recommending that in this case.
No.
I'd rather you actually simply directly address the thoughts.
Thank you, Lama.
Titania. Titania, you need to unmute yourself, dear. There you go.
Oh, hi. Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Thank you. Thank you, Lama. My question is, one of them quickly is what's yi? You mentioned quite a few times
The
about
sixth sense organ. You have 6 senses.
Yes.
The yi is the sixth. It's considered to be the neural tissue that's around your gut in your your solar plexus area. It feels feelings. It's extremely sensitive to neurotransmitters.
Right. Okay.
It's
Thank
called
you.
the yi in Tibetan.
I have an issue with intensity. The light is too intense. Smells are very intense. Noise.
Are you autistic? Are you on the spectrum?
That was never particularly diagnosed or raised. I am Brazilian. When I lived in Brazil, I had a lot of migraines. Since I've been in England, that decreased, because I don't know if it's less noise, less light, less stress, different language.
Yes.
You're talking about the thinking, different languages, different previously. So is there any particular way that I should be perhaps looking at this? Because when the intensity makes it, I can't think. Is that what you call it, fizz?
Yes, that's a fizz. So you fizz pretty easy. Do this practice in an environment that won't fizz you.
Okay.
You don't want to combine this practice with a fizz. Now, there's other ways of people who have fizzes of working with the fizz, but you got to get this down first.
Right. Okay. And also, would that fight or flight mode, would that also work doing what you just said? Because I have some traumas, and the fight or flight mode, it can be quite intense as well.
That's fear, anger.
Yeah.
That's working with emotions. First, you've got to understand and get the thoughts off. You can't really work with a fully clothed emotion.
Right.
You got to get it naked first. So the trick to get it naked is stripping the thoughts, which is the working with thoughts that we're really going over here a lot.
Okay.
That's the key to all of this, the Dzogchen method. You got to strip the thoughts off by recognizing that they never were on. But you got to see it for yourself.
One thing that is just a comment. I sometimes I'm sleeping and I wake up quickly and I just can, see a completely random thought. Is that our brain keep having thoughts as we're sleeping constantly?
Most people do. Some people think in pictures while they sleep. Some people think in words while they sleep, but that's normal. People don't stop thinking because they're asleep.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Lena. Thank you.
You're welcome. Looks like Mauricio, you're up next.
Hello.
Mauricio, you're breaking up. You don't have enough bandwidth for this. You need to turn off your picture and try talking without a picture.
Okay, is that better?
Much. Now I can hear you.
Okay, thank you. Hello, Lama and Dorit and everyone in the Sangha. So in this moment, I suppose, in this practice that we are doing right now, do we care about the content of the thought? Because right
Not
now,
in the
the thought
least.
just appears. Yeah, so it just appears and I don't know what's even in there. I just know it's
who
appearing.
cares?
Okay, so now when I try to do this practice while you are talking, it seems like I have to focus a little bit so I know what you're talking about. Because if I rest in Tawa, you're just talking, thoughts appear, but I don't register anything you are saying.
You are in the early stages of this. If you keep practicing this, you will find that you can even speak with some difficulty while resting in Tawa, while paying the thoughts no, never mind.
Yes, but that, if I can do that, but I have to focus a little bit. Is that okay?
It is at this stage.
Okay.
Just don't focus too much.
Okay. It's like a 10%, 20% in the thought to see the content, and the rest is just the open awareness.
Yes, but when you're sitting on your cushion, and I'm not talking to you trying to tell you how to do it,
yes,
then don't even bother with that 10%.
Okay, so that's
but give it a 1% to watch the thoughts arise and vanish without paying any attention to what they said. Like watching waves in water.
Yes.
Like, are you near an ocean?
No.
Are you near a lake or a river?
Yes.
So go down to your lake or river in the sun. Stick your head in the shade. You be in the shade, but let the river or the lake, the body of water, be in the sun. And watch the way the sparkles arise and vanish on the water.
Okay.
That's an analogy for how the thoughts arise and vanish, leaving no trace. Sun sparkles on moving water.
So just to clarify, so right now, if I don't need to know the content of thoughts, I just rest in complete open awareness. If you are talking and I need the instruction, I just focus a little bit. When you are done, I go back to that. Okay.
You rest in
I think
open
that's all.
awareness,
Thank
but
you.
for the purpose of liberating yourself from the thoughts. You do not bother to be aware of their content, but you are aware of their nature and location. So I'd say you give them 2%. Just nothing to the content. Pascal, you're next.
Yes, hello, Lama Lena. This is a bit related to what Mauricio just talked about before. My question is more about the definition of what it means of thoughts being real or not. And my question is, can we say that the thoughts are not saying something about the objective reality I'm in right now? For example, I'm thinking I am in this room. I can see that
The
the thought
thoughts are saying
disappears.
something about the objective reality, but it is not accurate.
So it's not accurate, and we can never fully describe accurately what is happening. So in that sense, it's also not real.
Yes, but those are thoughts you're saying to me.
Yeah,
Be careful of getting tangled up in understanding this.
yeah. Because I see them disappearing. I see that when I'm just observing, there's just a thought arising. It doesn't have a substance or real quality to it. It just, if I don't give it much attention or to the content of what's happening, then it just disappears.
The more
But
time you can put in watching that happen, the easier the rest of these practices are going to be for you.
great. And at what point can we say, maybe if there's a small voice in us, an intuitive voice which says something, at what point can we trust that
Never.
voice or any thought? So
You don't trust it. You don't trust any thoughts. You may act on them, but you don't believe them. Remember, have you been in any of my dream yoga classes?
yes, I'm following Lama Tasha.
Yeah, she's very good at dream yoga.
Yeah.
So remember how I kept saying respect the integrity of the dream?
Okay.
Least you wake yourself up precipitously. With the analogy that this is a dream, you must respect its integrity. Least you wake yourself up precipitously by causing your death. What this means is, even though you don't believe in the truck that you think you perceive coming down the street, you nonetheless avoid being run over by it.
Okay.
When you're dreaming and know you're dreaming, you don't believe you're in a real situation.
Yeah.
But unless you follow the rules of that dream and not step off the cliff, you're going to wake yourself up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And lose your nice opportunity of lucid dreaming.
Okay.
So you just follow the same rules as lucid dreaming around here.
Would that mean
But
that
that doesn't mean you believe it's real. You know you're dreaming. This is an analogy.
Mm-hmm. Would that mean then that we should act intuitively, but not need to create thoughts of what we're going to do? It just comes naturally. Then we're just in a state of
It
flow.
can happen that way, but no guarantees it will happen that way in any given moment.
Mm.
So don't grab at that idea either.
Okay. And don't believe
I've told
in anything.
people about the flow, but then people grab at it, and of course that messes it up.
Mm.
So let's just not grab at that idea.
Right. Act naturally out of the situation.
Yes. Respond to the perceived situation, even though you are aware that your perceptions are a clump of thoughts, feelings, and sensations.
Mm. Okay.
You don't have to believe in it to react to it.
Mm. I think I get it. Yeah.
Good.
I'm trying to translate the teachings into the daily life when, like the other person mentioned,
Don't.
applying it
That
for
won't work, honey. You're going down the wrong
decisions.
route. Sit.
Yeah.
Sit and watch. Sit and watch. Walk around and watch. Sit and watch. And let the daily life handle its own shtick. You can't do it on purpose. The moment there's a you and an it, you make that separation, the flow won't flow.
Mm. I get myself out of the way, basically. My
By
sense of ego.
sitting there and watching.
Yeah.
Not
Okay.
by thinking you are getting yourself out of the way, telling yourself to get out of the way, or trying to haul yourself out of the way.
Understand.
None
Yeah.
of those methods will work.
Yes, it's a not doing,
Exactly.
like you mentioned before. Yeah.
So I give you the doing that will cause the not doing to spontaneously occur.
Mhm.
But you can't make it do so.
Okay. Thank you so much, Lena. Take care.
Jennifer, you're up next.
Hi, Lama. Okay, so I have a very strong fear that I'm going to stop existing. So I can get into a flow state, and then I have a feeling I don't like that brings me out, like it was pride that I mentioned last weekend or this past week. And
first of all, your feelings are the dance of wisdoms. Stop objecting to them.
Okay.
Stop categorizing them as good and bad.
Okay. And I know it's a insane I'm not going to disappear, poof. But it's one of the big things, like the sensations are strong. So it's like, oh, well, I guess that's just reifying the fear. Is that what's happening? That I'm not going to.
People get into that weird shit out of pride.
Oh, okay.
I'm doing so well that I might disappear. What a wonderful yogi am I.
Okay.
Don't worry about it. It's just thoughts and feelings going by. You don't want to reify the thoughts and feelings. You just want to sit and do the practice and let the thoughts and feelings go dance by themselves.
Okay. I understand, actually. The cat analogy you use so often. Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome. So, guys, where we have gotten is simply emphasizing working with thoughts.
Lama, there is another Juliana still want to ask a question.
Oh, there you are, Juliana. I didn't see you. Go ahead.
No problem. Thank you, Lena. I have two questions. The first one is, what do you do when there are no thoughts? When you are in that state where you're opening awareness and there's nothing?
You just sit there.
And stay there?
You don't do anything.
Okay.
Well, until you got to pee. Don't worry, honey. Your bladder will put an end to it.
Okay. And my second question
and you
is
will
related
think, shit,
to...
I've got to pee. And that's a thought.
Okay. And my second question is related to something that you said earlier, and I don't think I ever heard it this way, but that thoughts basically are manifestation of our karma. Could you expand a little bit more on that?
Nando, I will need that basket. Okay. It's not this one. No, it's in the bag. Yes. And I will also need one of the crystals. Do you see this device? It's an old-fashioned music box. You see what's going on? The drum is turning.
We can't hear
drum
that.
has- What?
We can't hear the clicking.
You can't hear the music. Can you see
No.
what's going on? Nyando, would you please put on the music part? Can you hear it now? Where is your, okay. You just take a quick look. Yes. And let's put that on as a regular basis. Okay. Oh, noise reduction. Yeah, take that off. Right. That was very strange whenever that was. Okay, so now you're on the musician setting. Yes. Can you hear it now? And future, let's just live on that setting. Yes. So think of these little pips on the drum as your karmic formations in your energy channels, little twists and quirks in your energy channels created by your past deeds. As time passes, think of that as the drum turning. They pluck these little things. That's the chi is moving through the channels, causing the sensations of thoughts, of feelings, of sensations, of perceptions, which are a clump of all of that. Your entire perceptions are simply the unwinding of your karma, your experiences through your 6 sense organs, including your thoughts. If you have been all your life a tendency to be an angry person as response to having been raised by angry people, the more times you act as an angry person, the deeper that groove in your channel goes, will be the more times you want to have angry thoughts, and that angry thoughts will come up. So when you follow your thoughts, you are not following free will. You're following the pips in your channels as the chi blows over it, causing squeaks. I freaked out the cats, didn't I? Yes, you did. That's what a channel squeak feels like when it's particularly loud. A strong emotion in sound. Does this make sense to you?
Yeah. So it's not just thoughts, it's even physical, like physical pain, everything.
Physical pain, whether you see, you're out on the street and a dog walks by, but do you notice it, or are you looking the other way? Did you have the karma to see a dog in that moment? It's just your reality tape unrolling. Go somewhere with 3 or 4 friends, a nightclub, a bar. Wait 3 days, get together again in a different place, and tell each other, each one take a turn telling each other what happened that night you got together. Boy, will you have all had different experiences. according to your karma. There is no real reality going on out there. At least not one that anybody's ever seen. Just winds in the channels. Joanne, you're up.
Thank you, Lena.
So we have no free will. Is that what you're saying, basically? Or how do we get free will?
Damned if I know. Dorit and I were having quite an interesting conversation on this the other day. Dorit, you were expressing it marvelously. You want to answer this one?
Well, I think that this music machine just explained it better than I will ever be able to do it. If we understand that we do have karma, and karma is working always the same way we accumulate karma, the same way we project karma. So what happens? It's this wind blowing in our channels, creating or projecting our reality, what we think is real. That's why it's called reality. It's not really there, but we believe that. And not
nonetheless, the experience, the sensation of having free will arises in this dream that we call reality. And since it behoves us to respect the integrity of the dream, one may act as if one did have choices. However, it's worthwhile being aware that maybe not so much. Maybe a lot of patterns get repeated.
I remember His Eminence Dorjen Rinpoche telling the story about being captured by the Chinese. So he said it at the beginning, he was very upset and he didn't like the situation because he was tortured and, being in the prison for so long. But then he realized that it was the best thing that ever happened to him because he was surrounded by lamas and friends, and he could practice, and somebody was taking care of his food and everything. So being in prison was not feeling like being in prison, but being in the best place ever. So with regard to free will, I mean, he wasn't there he didn't choose to be there, but something has been changed in his perception of jail, not as a jail. So he felt like he had a free will.
It has often felt to me as if, now this is not something I'm guaranteeing is true as a Lama, I'm simply describing a set of perceptions. It has often felt to me as if I can choose how I take things. I can't choose what happens, but I have some ability to choose what I think is happening and how I feel about that. Choose the story I tell myself. I do not know if that is common to everyone, or if most of us are simply forced to tell ourselves the habitual story. I know that for most of my life, I was forced to tell myself the habitual conditioned story. But at some point, I noticed that since none of the stories were real, I actually could tell myself any damn story I wanted, including, dragons and unicorns.
But Lama, what is the difference between feeling anger and having the feeling that I have a free will?
Don't think there really is one. They're both sensations, mental sensations. So this is why I'm not guaranteeing it's true. I'm just saying I've had this mental sensation. Now, it does seem to have had a beginning, so that makes me figure it's some kind of nyam.
Yeah. So basically, if feeling of anger or fear is a projection from our own karmic winds blowing in our channels, so and it has a cause of karmic cause. So basically, feeling a free will, feeling the way that I can choose, is also comes from karmic cause.
Yep.
And actually, the Buddha is talking about it in the Sutra of the Diamond Cutter. He is predicting that.
Yes.
Yes. So it will be very beneficial to us if you want to teach us the Diamond Cutter Sutra, Lamala. This is a great opportunity to ask you to teach us the Diamond Cutter Sutra.
Send me a copy of a translation you like. Because if I go fishing around through all the many translations of that, it's like, I don't know which one's good. Because I don't have it in Tibetan, and it started out in Pali anyway.
Yes. Yes. Great. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Close.
So what I was saying before we noticed another hand up there was that I've only gotten as far as working with thoughts here. I haven't told you what to do with the emotion, because you got to have the thoughts fine. Dorit, can we do one more of these?
Of course, everybody will be beneficial from that. Yeah, it will be great to have another class. Yes.
Okay, let's do one more. Meanwhile, guys, you got to get this working with thoughts smooth, or I can't show you the Dzogchen method with the emotion. Fair enough?
I would like to add something to that, because I was listening to the question and I had a chance to look at the people that were asking the question, and I know some of the people that were asking question in my classes. So I want to say something that has to do with my experience with the teachings, and I want to, reassure people. There are many methods. The Dzogchen method of working with thoughts, it's one of them. The tantric method of working with the emotions or even with thought is another one. Like when people saying, we're trying to see the emptiness of the thought. So this is a method how the Gaelic tradition work with thoughts, which is different than the Dzogchen tradition.
There's also a Keirim method where you apply antidotes.
Yes. So basically, what I do want to, give the people who are here is the understanding that this clump of methods meant to help us in different times and in different occasions and in different capabilities, because sometimes it takes time to get experience in that. Like when you were asking now that people will go and work with thoughts, they will work with thoughts before they can go to the next level. Otherwise, it won't work, Yeah. So the same thing with the tantric methods. In order to feel, to be aware to the fact that you have a fear or anger. I mean, fear and anger are relatively very easy, but we were discussing the range of feelings. Most of us do not know, we're not aware of that feelings, and we are not aware of that during that. We can be aware of that.
And there's also the hide behinds.
Yes. So the feelings, the sensations, the thoughts, everything that has to do with that. So it's okay. People were asking questions here and we're receiving answers from Lena, and in their level. That's, of course, the expertise that Lama is doing. So if you didn't understand the answer, which many years ago I didn't understand many of the answers that Lena gave to different people, don't worry about it. You will get there. Just practice. That's all. Okay? That's what I want to make sure, Lama, that
very much so.
Yes.
Milarepa's last words to his student Gampopa were not words. He simply picked up his skirt and showed him his calloused ass. Just sit there. If you actually follow the instructions, it works. The problem is that I have had is that I will go round and round about following the instructions for a long time, like a dog going round and round the fire hydrant before it lifts its leg. And it takes a long time before I actually fucking sit down and do it. I'll think about it. I'll intend to do it. I'll do this with it. I'll do that with it. I'll change it around a little and try it this way. I'll make it more interesting. That's why it took me 50 fucking years to actually have any idea what Rinpoche was trying to tell me. And then only a little tiny one. So
could you please, Lama, be specific about the instructions you want people to do until next time we meet?
Sit on the cushion or the chair with your channels in alignment. Do the proper thing with your mouth, leaving your teeth slightly open, your lips slightly open. Breathe mostly through your nose, but some of it can go through your mouth. Put your hands, if you're in a chair, on your thighs, if you're sitting cross-legged, in your lap, like this, one on top of the other, like being seated on a carpet. The eyes are what matter. Pull your chin back and point your eyes straight ahead. If you are very fortunate and have a circumstance where you can point your eyes straight ahead at the sky without having the sun fall on your head while in the shade, use that nice circumstance. But it's fine if you don't have that circumstance. I don't have that circumstance right here where I'm sitting. It's windows and another house. Allow your eyes to release their point focus so that they are open but not actually focused on anything. Let your attention follow your eyes, allowing the orifice of your attention, which you usually point at whatever you're thinking about or working with or trying to do something to. Let it open wide as well. Rest in this open awareness of Tawa, while allowing the thoughts to arise and vanish just as they do, without attempting to stop them, suppress them, or feed them any attention. Just leave them be. Pay them no never mind as to their content. Do notice, do watch, looking right through the transparency of your thoughts at the infinite openness of awareness, Tawa, while watching the thoughts arise and vanish without lasting for even a moment, without having even a tiny atom of substance. Simply sit there and watch it do that. Don't think about it doing that. Don't pay attention to what you are thinking. Periodically, your thoughts will grasp your attention and you will be thinking about lunch, meeting a friend, the book you read. When that happens, simply notice that it happened. Do not feed it any attention by making it good or bad that you did that. Do not judge. Simply return your attention into the relaxed state of infinite open awareness, letting the thoughts arise and vanish as they will without paying their content no never mind. This is working with thoughts. Get good at it. And Dorit will work together and figure out a time that works for you and works for me.
Okay. And also, we will cut these instructions, the meditation that Lena just did, and we'll send it to you so you can practice that, you know, with the recording until you don't need a recording. So we will do that. And we'll make the second part very soon.
Okay. Ge wandi nyurduda chi chi sala go